I'm always at a weird place with Rush's Presto, their 1989 studio album. This is the first album where they decided that they would abandon the keyboards and synthesizers of the 80s period, which are prominent for moving pictures up to especially 1987's Hold Your Fire. Producer Rupert Hine requested they go back to their kind of power trio, their hard rock sound. This is the Rush album which sounds the most like the first album since, well, I guess Permanent Waves. And there is a part of this album which is kind of bouncy pop, fun, art pop, sort of goofy and fun, interesting songwriting. But then the other half of it's just kind of bland, middle of the road, and trying to play it fairly safe and like almost AOR. It's kind of unfortunate. I can't help but feel that synthesizers wouldn't have hurt this album, but I understand how they were going for a certain guitar pop, power pop sound. I suggested before I think it was in the Hold Your Fire video, a friend suggested that they were trying to sound like REM or something on here, which is an interesting thought, especially 80s REM is glorious, and it's interesting that Rush would have picked up on that and tried to sound like that. I'm not certain, though, in a way that the albums around Grace Under Pressure and Power Windows are trying to sound like Simple Minds of the Police or what have you. I'm going through the track list now to try and, comment on each individual song on this album, but you know what sucks? I'm thinking, how does that go again? I'm going to have to go to YouTube and check how that goes. That ought not to be the case. I know that's kind of on me if you really want to go there. Like, I get that, but for not, try to recall what these songs sound like. Part of the reason certain songs are memorable to me in my lifetime is simply because they've been played via external circumstance so much. There are songs which I love, which if they hadn't been played for me more than once by someone else in my vicinity, I might not have ever remembered that song. It is what it is. Some songs take a little bit to really catch you, and some songs catch you because you have heard it before, and now you're just like, oh, hey, yeah, I do love this. This is I've really always wanted or expected to love Presto more than I do. The track that is most memorable to me is a contentious one, certainly on the Rush fans' YouTube channel. I love Superconductor. I think it's a lot of fun. I know it's a goofy, simple song in many ways, but it's just, I get into it. I don't know what to say. It's just fun as fuck. And I listened to Presto within the last 3 to 4 hours. That maybe I ought to have started to click record sooner, closer to where I stopped listening to the album, but I don't know. I still feel like I ought to that's that track. How does that go again? It's just a bit annoying, and it just proves that the album's a bit more unmemorable than we'd like, or I'd like it, If you just take Presto as a, one big long composition, it can all kind of blend together. It's like Rush attempting to make more accessible, vocal music, and it's less about virtuosity, more about hooks, and the bass guitar is still very prominent, but there's a lot of catchy riffing and jangling and strumming. It's not like the virtuosic leads of say Hemispheres, like that sort of era of Rush. It's just, I don't know what they were going for on here, like some sort of odd quirky art pop thing that only like people who go to cafes and suburbs sort of listen to. I don't know, maybe there's a certain Canadian humor or music scene or kind of bizarre pop scene that they were trying to mimic, because I know there was a bit of that out there. I have no idea. Someone enlightened me on this album. I put it at B tier typically, say, but I feel like that's unfair of me, because if I was doing a tier list of Rush albums, I'd probably put the first album in C tier or below. Fly By Night's an A tier for me. Caress of Steel, I'm going to also put that in A tier. 2112 probably belongs in S tier. Farewell to Kings I put in A tier. Hemispheres, A tier. Permanent Waves, maybe C tier or below, frankly. Not the biggest fan of that one, a bit bland, actually. Moving Pictures is S tier. Signals, S tier. Grace Under Pressure, S tier. Power Windows are at least A tier, but maybe S tier. Hold Your Fire is A tier. I don't know if it'd go quite so far as to put it in S tier. But yeah, Presto I'm sooner putting in B tier. Rollerbones is C tier or below. Counterparts B tier. Test for Echo maybe C tier, honestly. And Vapor Trails maybe C tier. Some tracks are B tier, certainly. Snakes and Arrows is an easy B or A tier, and Clockwork Angels I'm going to put C tier or below, unfortunately. I mentioned that before, I'm the biggest fan of that one. It sounds too much like a wannabe attempt at a Coheed and Cambria or Dream Theater thing. Rush are trying too hard there to be a prog metal act and be recognised as a prog metal act by the kids, and it's just like, I don't know, not their best effort in my opinion. I think it's a bit, yeah, I know, pour gasoline, I'll burn easier, whatever. I know. Yeah. But Presto is just an album I want to love way more than I actually do. And, like, yeah, let's actually go through the track list, and I will comment on my thoughts on the songs. I said that they're hard to remember before, but we've done a bit of catching up, and, okay, here's what's what. I don't like Show Don't Tell that much as an individual song. It's kind of bland and not all that interesting, I'll be frank. Chain Lightning is really good. Chain Lightning is one of the better tracks on here. I'm actually quite impressed by it. Response, Vibrate, Relax, Hesitate. Yeah, it's actually a good piece of songwriting for what it's worth. I will say that. The Past is actually awesome, and it's like a bold song about depression, which is quite nice. I think it's audacious and yeah, noble of them to do so. Warpaint, not bad. I mean, yeah, The Mirror Always Lies. Yeah, I don't know. Not my favourite. Scars is better. Presto, the track they're most proud of, that they named the title and made the album art match the title of this song, but it's possibly the worst thing on here in my opinion. If I could wave my magic wand, I'd make everything alright. I'm not one to believe in magic. Like, it's just crap, honestly. Superconductor, I've said that before, I like that song. Anagram from Mongo, that's a fun song. Red Tide's fun. Side B's better. Because the only one on here I'm not the biggest fan of is Hand Over Fist, Faces of Van. Like, this is the chorus emphasis of these songs. It always comes back to choruses. I'm just like, these choruses aren't catchy. Why are we coming back to these? They're not good. Available Light's a brilliant song. If you want an excellent take on why Available Light is a really moving song and why it's more moving than people my age might realize, you might not know what Available Light means in the context of old celluloid still photography. Go to, I think it's Rock Daydream Nation, where they're talking about, Peter Kerr's channel is talking about Rush's Presto, and it's Todd Evans, whoever video it is, whoever video it is, it's Todd Evans explaining Available Light and why he thinks it's such a powerful and moving Rush track, and it helped open my... I always really liked the song, but it opened my eyes as to why I ought to be more considerate, and I think we all, of how effective that those songs' lyrics are, and the conviction with which Geddy sings it becomes quite stirring rather than a bit naff or confusing, perhaps. So there's, I think, when I say people who are around in 1989 may understand the lyrics and what the meaning and message of that song is, but yeah, those of us who were born even a little bit later may not understand this to the same degree. I suspect I do. But yeah, I do think Rush have one of the most interesting discographies in the history of rock music. There's a fundamental attempt to make every album interesting, strange, and re-listenable, and yet they stay true to a fundamental Rush idiosyncrasy or quirkiness, and yet each album's so varied. You have the progressive rock era of Fly By Night, say up to Hemispheres, then you have a more new wave or synth pop, art rock inspired direction, especially on Permanent Waves through to Signals. And then you get more like mixes of art rock and old progressive rock ideas and new wave and synth pop for Grace Under Pressure and Power Windows. Total synth pop new age sort of shtick on Hold Your Fire. And then Presto, like, who even knows what that's going for? Like, strange art pop? I don't even know at this point. Rollerbones sounds like an attempt to do like 90s groove music and kind of alt-rock styling, alt-metal styling. It's not what it is. Counterpart's kind of a 90s alt-rock, alt-metal space rock thing, like a Porcupine Tree or a Dream Theater, or... then there are a few bands around that. The Tool, one of those sort of groups, I think. Test for Echo, Vapor Trails you can put in the similar category. Vapor Trails sounds like the early 2000s a lot though. That can't be denied, obviously. Snakes and Arrows is like, yeah, we're a neo-prog band in the 2000s thing, except they're one of the best ones at that point. Especially the material on Snakes and Arrows, I think. I'd say Snakes and Arrows is the best album post Hold Your Fire or Presto, actually. Better than even Counterparts, which I like quite a bit. It's a solid one. 93's Counterparts, but Snakes and Arrows might be even stronger, and I've said my piece on Clockwork Angels, we'll leave it there. And that's all my pieces on Rush. Yeah. I think this will do. Thanks again, my friends. I don't know what much insight I can give to these. These are just for my own sake. These aren't probably as interesting as the film videos, but I don't know, I find them fun, and some people seem to like them, and until I get an array of comments telling me that this is causing untold amounts of misery around the world, cease these videos now, then I'll stop.